where you are now, you're not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And so if you're forward thinking, you're like, okay, let me start sowing seeds. Let me start making investments in a place where I know the boom has to eventually come.
Yeah.
And so you have to start looking at it like that. You can't think of it like, oh, I need to generate money now. Like, you're not going to generate money now.
No Free Lunch is presented by T. Rowe Price. The information provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified financial and or legal professionals before making any legal or financial decisions or investments. I'm Ndamukong Suh, and welcome to No Free Lunch, where we talk to experts and athletes about how the most successful people in sports manage their money and grow their wealth. Danny, boss man, what we got going back here in London town?
Man, this is my first time across the pond, man. It's a good city. I'm excited to be here. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, man, you got some sightseeing to do, but London is my second home, man. It's a beautiful country, and I got roots here. I got family in Birmingham, and my mom lived in Birmingham when she was younger, so I feel like I'm a Londoner.
Okay, nice. See, okay, I need to get some recs then. Yeah. But excited for our guest today. I know you've been overseas doing games with Sky Sports and really been a shepherd to the globalization of the NFL and football. But our guest today, Osi Umenyiora, is doing that also with NFL Africa and really building the game overseas.
Osi obviously has been somewhat of a big brother, but just one of those guys that you look at as a pillar in moving the game of the NFL, not only internationally to here in the UK, but also to Africa, NFL Africa. And I didn't really even realize what he was doing while I was playing. And we had a couple conversations. He was like, man, I'd love for you to support NFL Africa. So he is without question a first mover and paved the way for a lot of different guys, including myself. And a champion in that in itself. So he's a great human being. I'm excited for him to join the show right here on No Free Lunch. My guy Osi, man. Welcome to the show, boss man. I appreciate you. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. Obviously, I've humbly learned a lot from you, to say the least. And I'd love to just share with the audience not only your knowledge, but your experience and where you grew up. Obviously, not a traditional lifestyle of growing up, especially in America, although you played a great American football game and has led us to so many great things. But let's start back in the day. One, being from Nigeria, living there, growing up there, Alabama, where you played college, and obviously London here. Let's break it down. What was your earliest memory of just childhood in general, but then also money and how that played a factor into where you're at right now?
Okay, that's a good one. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. So I was born here in London. I was born in the UK. So I was here till I was like 7 years old. And then from there, I went to Nigeria because my parents are Nigerian. So I was in Nigeria till I was like 14. Yeah. And then I was fortunate enough that my dad was like forward thinking, and he understood that for a lot of us who had the opportunity, America was like the land of milk and honey, right? So it's like you got to go to the United States.
As does every African family.
Everyone thinks that, right? And quite frankly, it's there's some truth to that, right?
For sure.
So he sent me. Well, my sisters and a couple of my brothers went there first. 13 of us. So sister and a couple of my brothers went there first. Yeah. And so he sent me to go live with my sister, like when I was around 14 years old, and he sent me to Alabama. Okay. And that's where my journey with American football really began, was in Alabama. We didn't know what it was in Nigeria. Never even heard of it. It wasn't even a thought, right?
I know exactly what you mean. My dad, you want to play what? We play one sport and one sport only in this family, and that is football. Correct. Not American football, but football, correct. AKA soccer. So started really when I got to America. I was in Alabama, and I remember vividly, like, a lot of the things and the thoughts that I had about America. When I got to Alabama, like, my mind was just blown, because what I saw there wasn't the America that
I had seen on the Cosby Show and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was a completely different, you know what I mean? Completely different place.
Yeah.
And to make that worse, we were living in the projects in Auburn, Alabama, right? And so imagine coming from Nigeria to the projects of Auburn, Alabama. So it was a very different experience for me, and learned a lot. But in terms of like financial, money and the thoughts around money, I think I learned a lot in that whole transition because, I was in London, I was in the UK, and my father at that time was a wealthy man, right? And so we were going to like private schools and we were living a certain type of life. And then I went to Nigeria, where my father was still, relatively, he was a wealthy guy. So you know how in Africa, like when you have money, there's a way that people live there that
for sure
you can't even comprehend that. Like outside,
the compound is different. It's gated.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So we had all of that, but then he got into a situation with the government, and then he kind of like used everything that he had to send us to America. So when we got to America, we had nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you go from like having everything you want, and then you come to the place where, it's supposed to be the land of, and then you're in the projects. And so you have to go through that entire process. It's like a change of sorts, and finding your way through that, and having to adjust to being really broke and not knowing where your next meal is going to come from. Was a very humbling and difficult, experience. Yeah. And so you learn a lot of things. And I think the main thing that I have learned is having financial capability and having money is, quite frankly, and as bad as it's going to sound, is the most important thing that you can do.
Yeah. And it's not a bad thing, because once we understand money isn't the end all be all, but what money does for us, it opens up so many opportunities and avenues. And it's the one thing that, again, we also want financial freedom, which is freedom to do as we please and build our own way of life. And so it's the chase and the drive to have it so you don't have to worry about it. And I think that's where people misconstrued a comment like that and not understanding the differences. It's not, no, I don't do everything just for money. I do it so I can have freedom to do as I please, hang out with my family when I want to hang out, and work with people who I choose to work with versus being forced to work with, which is a big difference in life. Yeah. I want to fast forward a little bit, especially into your playing career in high school. You mentioned Auburn, Alabama, and Troy University, where you went to, but you only played 2 years of high school football. Yeah. Like, what did you think people saw in you and the success that you had in football? And what were your thoughts around that, as saying, this is a sport I didn't grow up around and had no knowledge of? Like, what was that picture of life like?
Yeah. So, I really started playing football because, I used to play basketball all the time, and we had some friends, older friends, went to school with my brothers and sisters. They were in university, and they were like, man, you should go try to play football. I was like, all right, cool, I guess. And I saw like the football players had all the girls and all that good stuff. I was like, man, let me go see what's going on. So I started to play, but truthfully, I wasn't good. You know what I mean? I wasn't a good player in high school.
You was just an athlete.
That's all I was. I was just out there, just running around, you know what I mean? And so I didn't get a offer to go anywhere coming out of high school. Yeah. I was just, I was done with football. And a crazy story about how I even got to college that I think a lot of people might not even know is my sister had given me her car to drive. Okay. And so I was driving to school already, but I had this class, my last semester of high school called driver's ed. Okay. But since I was driving, I was like, I'm not going to driver's ed. So I wouldn't go to class. Yeah. And so I got to school after like 2 weeks of missing driver's ed. And they told me I needed to go to the principal's office. Yeah. I'm petrified at this point. You know what I mean? So I go to the principal's office, and she's like, you need to go to, you're going to be suspended because you're not going to class. I was like, all right, cool. But she was like, we're not going to send you home. they have a program called in-school suspension.
Yeah, okay.
So she sent me to in-school suspension. This was at like 8:30 in the morning. So I go to in-school suspension, and the guy who's running in-school suspension is the running backs coach.
Okay.
And so he was like, "Oh, so you're a good kid. What are you doing here?" And I told him the whole story. And then he was like, "Well, what are you going to do with your life now?" I was like, "I don't know," because we had no money. I didn't know how I was going to get into college.
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "Okay, cool." That he thinks that maybe I might have the opportunity to walk on somewhere.
Okay.
So he was like, let me just call one of my friends.
Yeah.
So he called his friend, and his friend was the D-line coach at Troy.
Okay.
Tracy Rocker. Do you know who Tracy Rocker is?
Yeah, Tracy Rocker was with me in Philly.
In Philly, correct.
Yeah,
Him.
okay.
Yeah. So he was the D-line coach at Troy.
He's been around for a minute.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tracy was in Auburn.
Yeah.
At the time, visiting his parents. So he was like, "All right, cool. Let me come see what's going on with this kid."
Yeah.
So he comes in. He sees me. I'm 16 at the time. He's like, "Man, you're a big kid." So he took me outside. I ran my 40. And
just on the spot?
On the spot, man. So we come back in. He calls the head coach, Larry Blake, and he's like, "Man, we got this kid, 16. He doesn't know how to play football, but he can run. What you think?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Cool." So they offered me a scholarship. This was at like 10:30 in the morning. So I went to in-school suspension at 8:30.
And got a scholarship at 10:30.
Scholarship at 10:30, man. And that's how I got into college. That's how I kept playing football.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Kept on rewarding me, and I just kept on growing from there.
Yeah.
So I think about that quite a lot. I'm like, man, what would have happened if I had just went to class that morning? You know what I mean?
So that's crazy, because I'd say I'd have a little bit of a similar story from the standpoint of like, football was never on my radar to play, other than my friends were like, "Oh, I want you to play. I think you'd be good at it." But like, soccer was all that I wanted to be good at. Like I was supposed to come to London and be in boarding school, but my mom was like, "Absolutely not. You're not coming over here by yourself and being in boarding school." But I got kicked out of AAU soccer because I was too physical. I would get red cards, all these different things. And so I was like, man, let me go get my aggression down. And I played 8th grade football, but then I didn't play again until my sophomore year of high school. But I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and I got to beat up on people. But that was like, for getting in trouble, like I got to go have enjoyment. So it's like that same kind of correlation from that standpoint is like, it is fun to do things that allow you to be who you are at the end of the day and put you in a great position. So as you looked at it and you saw, obviously at a young age, financial pressures, and you had the motivation to ultimately, like, I've got football now as an opportunity to get to college. My family's taken care of not having to worry about me, because that was a big pressure on mine watching my older sister. Hey, she went to school for soccer on a full ride. How do I take the burden off my family? When you got to college, like what were you considering that saying, I have this gateway now of football. What can I do with it? What was your mindset and motivation with that?
Yeah, just to go to school, to be fair.
Okay.
Playing in the NFL, you got to think like, coming from the opportunity that I got from high school to college, playing in the NFL was like it wasn't even like it wasn't even a thought at that time. So I'm like, okay, my folks sent me here to go to school.
Yeah. And
this game is giving me the opportunity to go to school. So I'm just going to really focus in on college and, getting my education and seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
And it like, as you continue to go through the sport, and I'm seeing other people, because you know how we are, like as men, like where I like to say rational.
Very much so.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So if you're seeing people who are like, well, no, I'm better than this guy, and this guy's getting an opportunity, well, why wouldn't I have a chance? And so as I started to climb the ranks, that's when it started to be a reality to me that maybe I might have an opportunity to, go somewhere else with this. But my initial thought was just school.
So same mindset, like just getting to school, get my engineering degree, come back and go work with my dad. Because he was already, obviously that's what I wanted to do, is work with him. But at what point in college could you pinpoint and say, I have this opportunity? All I need to do is put a little bit more fuel on the fire and focus outside of, I'm going to take care of my studies. That's second nature. At what point did you figure out that I had an opportunity to get to the NFL? Or that you knew you were on the progression to get there?
Bro, like I never really knew. I'm being straight up with you. I knew I was faster than most defensive linemen, and I was this big. But in terms of playing, like even up to, because I was a 3 technique, then I was a nose guard, a cock nose.
Ain't no way you played
I swear to God, bro.
No way you played. Osi, there's no way you played 3 technique. I didn't watch you in the Super Bowl. You coming off the edge, side swiping. There's no hands and
bro.
No way.
I promise you, man. My first 3 years in college, I was an interior D lineman. So I played 3 technique. Then I played 3 technique again. Then they moved me to nose guard, but I was a cock nose. You know what a cock nose is?
You getting hit in the back of the head.
Every year, so that's what I played. So I was like 3 years I was doing that. Okay. And then Coach Rocker, Tracy Rocker, before he left, he was going to, I think he went to Cincinnati.
Okay.
And so he was leaving to go coach Cincinnati. And he was like, you know what, Osi, I'm going to make you some money. And my senior year, he moved me to defensive end. So prior to that, I was an interior defensive lineman, man. No
Tracy Rocker.
Tracy Rocker.
Wow.
He has
moved
been,
you to DN.
He recruited me from high school.
From high school, yeah.
Moved me to defensive end my senior year, and he was like, "I'm gonna make you some money, so go out there." And then my first 6 games at DN, I had 0 sacks, none. And I remember, this is another crazy story, like I'd hurt my shoulder against Missouri in the 6th game.
Okay.
So I remember I was done. And so, I went back home and I was in the dorm and I woke up and I started to pray. First time I prayed in like, I don't even know how long. You know when all the chips are down, you turn to God. So I started praying. I was like, man, please, you got to help me out here because I couldn't move my shoulder. And so I went to sleep. I woke up and I had no shoulder pain the next day. And then I went on in the final 5 games. I had 16 sacks.
Who was y'all playing?
We were playing big teams. We were playing Arkansas, Mississippi State. We were playing like big teams, and I was dogging. I don't know what happened. And so
God found you.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He did. Yeah. And so finally, after I went on that run, I was 2nd in the nation in sacks behind Terrell Suggs. Terrell had like 20 and I had like 16. Okay. And so I really got on the radar then, and that's how I ended up getting drafted.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I think there was a point, and you said it a little bit earlier, it's like I see all these other people having an opportunity to have success in college, and they're no better than me. I'm actually better than them and more physically gifted than them. I just need to understand the game a little bit smoother and easier and get put in a position to where I can actually have an advantage versus getting double teamed and having 4 hands on you at all times of playing D tackle versus D end. But I remember specifically for myself, it's like there was a guy named Adam Carricker and Jay Moore. And Adam Carricker was, I think he might have been around the same draft class
I remember
as you. But he was a 1st round pick, top 10. But my freshman year, they put me with him and Jay Moore, and all I did was work out with them. And I was like, bro, this weight is easy. Like everything, why can't I play? And I ended up having a red shirt because I actually got hurt. And so it's always interesting to see those different points of like how you emulate other people, and then you're like, nah, I can succeed past you in 2 seconds and whatnot.
But your situation was, I would say, different than mine. And in the fact that you were, like, I remember being in the league, knowing who you were. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's a very different.
I didn't just come on the scene. No. I was eventually growing into it. But yes, there was trials and tribulations through it all too, as well. So we'll fast forward to, obviously you're dominant, you get drafted, and you're playing for the New York Giants. And you win a Super Bowl, but not 1, 2.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah, I know you never let me forget that.
You got 1 more to go, buddy.
I got one more to go. I'm going to let you have that. I'm going to let you keep having that. I'm not going back. But what was it like in your mindset going into that game against an undefeated Patriots team?
Yeah. So that was a crazy, crazy situation. I think because nobody really gave us a chance, right? It was like, it's just,
I wouldn't have gave y'all no chance.
Right? Like, it's just no way this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so we were really, really relaxed because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We had everything to lose.
No pressure.
Everything to win, excuse me. Yeah.
Exactly. No pressure, no anything. And everything was going okay until like the day of the game. And like, I remember I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
like
really?
I just shut up out of bed because the idea came to me. I was like, we can't win this game unless the defensive line dominates. We had no other path to victory. Like they were better than us everywhere except for there.
Yeah.
And so when I was like,
which is typical.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was like, oh, hold on now, like we're going to have to play our best game. Otherwise we don't stand a chance. Then that's when I started to feel like the pressure and the weight of the situation.
Okay. Yeah.
So we go to breakfast and, I'm just sitting over there. I'm quiet. I'm usually a jokester now. Like at that time, I'm playing around. I'm having a good time. But
you and Jay Bell,
you know what I mean?
Turning up, having a ball,
carefree.
Yeah.
But I come in and I'm really, really quiet because I'm thinking through. I'm like, man,
So with you being that way, I know it. All your teammates are noticing that.
They did. And so I remember Strahan comes in and he comes into where we're having breakfast. Yeah. And he's like, he's chilling, he's reading this paper, he's talking. And so I grab him, I'm like, hey, Stray, you tell you the story. I'm like, hey, if we don't perform today, we can't win this game. Yeah. He was like, whatever, OC, whatever. I said, hey, bro, listen to me, dog.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious now. If we don't perform today, this is 15th year in the league. Yeah. It's the biggest game of our lives. And if we don't play, we can't win.
Yeah.
And so he sat there for a second. And then he put the paper down. He was like, I got you. And then he became the way I was. Because I think at that point in time, it started to sink in what the situation is. Yeah. And so, we gathered all the D linemen around. We're like, listen, it's on us. And we have to be the ones to affect this game. And bro, everybody was locked in. And so we went into the game with a mentality of, okay, we're going to have to win this game. And usually it's hard for people on the outside to understand that mentality that a defensive line can actually win a game, right? Right?
You, Stray, Tuck, in that room, one, who was the most competitive?
Okay.
Two, what made you guys work so well together? Because that's a lot of firepower in one room.
So great questions. I think we got lucky.
Okay.
And the reason why is because Stray was there, but he had been there for a while. Yeah. So he was like towards
elder statesman.
Yeah, he was towards the end.
Yeah.
I came in, I was like towards, and Tuck came in like 2 years after me.
Okay.
So there was a gap between us. And the most competitive, that's a hard one. And the reason why I say this is because there's a lot of things that were going on in there, right? Yeah. Because even though Stray was older, he was still trying to hold on.
A nice way to say he was on his way out.
He was still doing his thing. And then, I was there, and then Tuck was like our younger brother who became like, the guy. Yeah. And craziest story I've ever seen in my life. This was 2007. Our Super Bowl year. So this was Tuck's it was his 3rd year.
Okay.
This is my 5th year. And so this was Strahan's 15th year. So Strahan was starting, me and Strahan was starting, but Tuck was rotating in, and he was playing ball. Yeah. And so we're walking to the stadium just for a Friday. It's like a Friday walk that we set up in the stadium. So we're walking there, and Stray's like, where you are, I'm here, and Tuck is behind me. And Tuck is like, man, I can't wait to kick this. And I look at him, I'm like, who are you talking to? He was like, him, Michael Strahan. He's like,
damn.
I'm like, he's like, what? He's like, yeah, man, you Stray, I'm gonna kick you off. Bro, I've never seen nothing like this in my life.
How did that end?
Nah, I mean, what could Stray say at that point? And he was dead serious. And so
they had beef.
They had no beef, but for whatever reason, on this particular day, he had it in his mind. He was going to kick Stray. He's going to kick him out the league. Yeah. So I kept on egging him on. I was like, say it again. So say it again. He was like, you, Stray, I'm going to kick you out the league.
So you over here sitting between these two cats, egging it on. And Tuck is like, man, I'm going to kick Stray out this league.
And he did this. He was doing this with his legs.
I can't do that. I have a problem with that one.
amazing. And so we're in that environment, and it's just dog eat dog in there. You understand? And so it's constant competition.
Yeah.
Everybody can play. And because of that, it's like, it's a good mix because of how we were.
Everybody got to be on their top game at all times, practice. But then at the end of the day, the person who's going to get it worse is that offensive lineman.
They're the ones who are going to pay the price.
Yeah.
And it was in practice. They're paying the price in practice
and in game.
And in the game. Every single, there was no day off. There was no nothing because, you know, you can't show any sign of weakness because of the guys who were around you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dang. Tuck, you wanted to go and kick your man out the league?
He was dead serious, man. I couldn't believe he was talking to Michael like that. Couldn't believe
crazy. At T. Rowe Price, their experience helps them see investment potential differently. Instead of quick answers, they know that what really leads to confident investing is true curiosity, which is why they ask smart questions, just like us. Like how healthcare innovation creates a healthier world, or how will AI be a part of a new tomorrow? Great questions for a deep dive. At T. Rowe Price, their curiosity runs deep so you can invest more confidently. Better questions, better outcomes. T. Rowe Price. Learn more at troprice.com/curiosity. So after getting that win, because obviously it was historic in the catch and they get all the of course, offense gets all the awards and praise. What does that championship do for not only yourself as an individual, but your career, especially in the business world?
Nothing like it. Because now you're no longer just Osi.
Yeah.
They must put Super Bowl champion. They must write that before that. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And so, and then to do it in New York is a very, very different, you know what I mean, market in a different place.
Yeah.
The craziest thing that I remember, you know Tao? Have you been to Tao in New York?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I used to like to eat at Tao. And I had this autograph signing. They had like it was like a release for a DVD at that point in time. That's how long ago it was, of the championship DVD.
Okay.
So I had an autograph signing. The autograph signing was at like 12 a.m. because they were releasing it, you know, the next day.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, man, I want some Tao. And so I called the lady who was working for me before, and I told her to go to the place at Tao, and like they closed at 11 to get me the fish that I like. So when I'm done, I can eat it.
True African, some fish.
You know what I mean? So she goes there and she tells them that I want to come in. They're like, no. We're going to close the restaurants. We're going to keep it just for him. So I came in there at like 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just me, the chef, and they had kept it open for 2 hours just so I can come in and eat this fish. And I'm sitting over there, I'm looking around at this restaurant, Tao, and I'm like, they kept this restaurant open
for you
just so I can eat in here. And this was right after the championship. So all the doors in the city, anything you want to do, open for you. I didn't really take advantage of it, like, Stray and Tuck. You know, Tuck is...
They take it to the max.
To the max. You understand what I mean? I didn't really want to do all of that, but there's literally nothing that isn't available to you in the city after something like that.
Yeah, man. I could only imagine, because, I mean, winning in Tampa, which is a small market, like, obviously doors open up lively, but are there any examples that you have, one, during your playing career, of sponsorships, just business deals in general, and things that you started to open up your mind to say, hey, like, I've got football on, not autopilot, but I know what I need to do to be prepared. But how did you progress in moving to the next phase of life and preparing for the next phase of life, knowing that, hey, I'll be good when it comes to money, but ultimately, like, I want to have these other passions that I continue to grow as well outside of sport? Yeah.
So I wasn't really very interested in like doing business. I'm a bad business person. You know what I mean? Like I just, I don't have the, like, in order to be a really good businessman, you have to have like, you have to be aggressive. You have to be like, you have to go get it. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, no, I want everything to be fair. So it's like, I want, if it's, 50-50 is okay with me.
Yeah.
But that's not like a real proper businessman mindset. And so I knew that about myself. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to, you know, make as much money as I can. I'm going to invest this money. I'm going to live off of the
income,
off of the, you know, the income, which quite frankly was substantial. I was like, this is cool. I can live off of this. I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
And so I remember coming out in 2007 and we played in the first international game in London. Played in the first one. I looked, I was like, man, 80,000 people here. Come on, they playing, they understand what's going on out here. I was like, okay. So I spoke to the guy who ran NFL International.
Yeah.
And I planted the seed then. This was like my 4th year in the NFL. I was like, you know, it'd be cool to come back to London and do some stuff with, you know, with the game when I retire.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, cool. And so, you know, I didn't say anything else about it. You know, every once in a while I'll bump into him and I'll talk to him. And then I came out again in 2013. I was with the Falcons at the time.
Okay.
And so I saw him again. And the game was different at this point in time. It was like different, like they understood the game a lot more. I could feel the energy. I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to do this. Yeah. It was like, okay, cool. And so when I retired, I called him like on the day I retired. And I was like, hey, remember what we talked about me, you know, coming out here? He was like, yeah, I remember. I was like, I'm ready. He was like, for real? I was like, yeah. He was like, well, I don't really have anything for you to do. I was like, well, we discussed this and you said
we gonna make
it. All right, cool. So they
was like, opened up the wrong door.
Bro, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they like as soon as I retired, they sent me here like a week after I retired.
Okay.
So I came to London, you know, and I was going into the office every day, 9 to 5. But they had no.
So you were working for the NFL?
Yeah.
And they just had you come to the office and hang out?
Sitting in the office, bro, from 9 to 5. I had a desk, I had a computer, I had the whole nine. But they didn't know what, you know, they had no real, they had nothing.
So you basically created your own position.
Created the whole thing, dog.
Wow.
Created the entire thing.
So we're going to get into that because I want to come back to that. But before we get there, you talked about 50-50 in business.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, before the 2011 season, you held out.
Yeah.
You said, trade me.
Yeah.
But yet you came back and won a Super Bowl with the team.
Yeah.
Explain to the audience of what that experience was like in the business of football and how all that works.
Oh, man. That's a, boy, you getting it out of me, dog. You are getting it out of me. So I signed a 6-year extension in 2005.
6 year for how much?
40-something mil. But this is in 2005.
I know, that's why you got money.
So I signed a deal, and at the time, I'm, you know, like it was the highest guarantee ever given to any defensive end, anything. So, you know, I'm feeling good about the deal at the time. 2006, I think it might have been 2006 or 7, Freeney hits.
Yeah.
And he like, I'm talking about completely
buzz it out to water
by like 30, 40 M's. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I'm looking at that. I'm like, hey, hold on now. You know, I know I signed this deal, right? But we know that you can cut me at any point in time, right? And there's no real repercussions for you. So this deal that's a 6-year deal isn't really a 6-year deal. The only deal it is a guaranteed portion of money that you gave me. I'm as good as these guys. There's no way they should be making double what I'm making. So I go to the GM and I tell him this. This was a year and a half into my deal. It's a 6-year deal.
Nothing.
Bro, he's
he
like,
don't want to hear nothing.
Get out of here, right? So I was like, okay, cool. So I go back and this was after the Super Bowl. I go back again and I balled and I was like, listen, after I understand I signed a 6-year deal, right? I get that. I understand the position you're in. He was like, listen, if I do this for you, I'm going to have to do it for Tuck. I'm going to have to do it for Kiwi. I'm going to have to do it for all these players. So bad business practice, right? So I can't do this. I'm like, okay, cool. You're right. So I'm going to do 2 more years. And after that, we're going to have a, discussion.
A heart-to-heart conversation.
He was like, got you. I promise you I'm going to do this.
He said that.
I promise you I'm going to do this.
Wow. Okay.
Cool. 2009 comes, I have a decent season. 2010, this is the year that after this year, we're supposed to have a conversation. 2010.
And they draft JPP.
And this was the problem. This is where the issue started.
Yeah, I already know.
Right. So 2010 comes, bro, 12 sacks, 10 forced fumbles. NFL record. Never been done before. Cool. Now, you know what I mean?
Now who has the power?
Yeah. They're like, well, Osi, I understand all that, but, we still don't think we can do it. I'm like, bro, I just broke the NFL record for forced fumbles in a season. Double-digit sacks, forced fumbles. Do you even understand what that means? They're like, yeah, we got that, but, we can't do that. We have Tuck, we have JPP. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. You guys go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah.
I sit out. so I sit out. And my knee's bothering me.
Yeah.
Have you heard the hold in where somebody's like acting like they're injured? You know what I mean?
And they're not really hurt.
Yeah.
You got a hamstring injury, but you can't detect it, so you can't tell.
Exactly, right? But the only thing was like my knee really was bothering me, but I could play with it.
Yeah.
So I sit out. I'm in there. I'm coming to camp every day, so I don't get the 30,000 fine every day. So I'm sitting in there, and they're looking at me. I'm looking at them. They're looking at me every day. And so after like 2 to 3 weeks, Coughlin comes down. He's irate. He's like, Osi, like, come on, bro. What is this? I'm like, no, my knee's hurting.
Yeah.
So we go do like a
MRI.
MRI, and they see that I have like some small meniscus damage. They're like, well, you're going to have to do something with that knee, or you're gonna play. I'm like, nah, I'm sitting out. I'm gonna. So I had the meniscus surgery, which is a small one, and I'm sitting there, and I missed the first 4 weeks of the season. And JP.
So you did a real holdout.
A real one.
But JPP balled.
Bro.
Balled. Bro. I remember. I was in cahoots with him.
And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
He was doing things at that position.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I remember coming out to that year, for rookie season, we played y'all in MetLife. I think it was, MetLife was at the time. And he was on fire. Special teams, D-line, everything. Knocking people out left and right.
Yeah. So special guy.
Yeah.
And so I knew,
special in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Definitely. Great guy. But so at that point in time, I'm like, okay, I'm in a very precarious position here, because it's either I come back and play, or my value is going to be down because I'm coming off of surgery. I don't know how these. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm going to come back in. So I came back out, went on another run, like as I was playing, like balling. I had like 8 sacks in 8 games.
Yeah,
and then I had a high ankle sprain.
Okay.
And so I sit out. But in my head, I'm like, well, I put up the numbers. I've only played 7 games. I got 8 sacks. I'm good to go. So, listen, I'm whatever they want to do, they're going to trade. I'm good.
Yeah.
So, we're like 6 and 7 at the time. We're going to need to win 3 games to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they win the first game. They go 7 and 7. They win the second game. They're like 8 and 7 now. And so the last game is against the Dallas Cowboys, and this is to get into the playoffs.
Okay.
And so now I have a decision to make. I'm like, am I going to sit back
and see what happens?
Or am I going to go out there and ride for my dog? I was like, you know what? Just go play, dog.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens. Just go play. So I go against Dallas, kill it, and then we go on this run that ends up, we win the second Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's how that happened. And then at the end of the season, they just added some more money for my last year, which was the last year of the 6-year deal. They gave me a couple of more whatever. Yeah. And that's how I finished there, man. 10 seasons.
10 seasons, man. That's crazy.
With New York. Then went to Atlanta, went back home, had just chilled out there for a couple of years.
So obviously you ended your New York days with a great second Super Bowl. Obviously transitioned to Atlanta and played well there. 2015, you retired.
Yep.
Age 34. You talked a bit about it a little bit, but I want to get into the process of how did you go about finding your purpose when you were leaving the game of sports? Because that transition is never easy.
Very tough.
And I just went through it officially.
Yeah.
This last summer.
Officially done.
I'm done. I announced this summer very quietly. Yeah, I'm done. I ain't played in 2 years.
Okay.
But the process has been for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Half toe in, full toe out. Like, what was that process like you to find your purpose after football?
Yeah. So I was really lucky. Again, that's like a theme that runs through everything, which is why I think I don't take myself really seriously. Like I know I have a persona that I'm like, but in reality, I'm like, no, because I've been so lucky because when I retired and, I spoke to Mark Waller and he was like, yeah, go to London. And I'm sitting in London, I'm sitting in the office. I was so far removed from America, from the NFL. It was like I was in a completely different world.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who I was. You know what I mean? I'm walking around the streets like a normal person.
And you can't do that now.
Well, yeah, it's different now.
you can't do that now.
It's changed. But it was a lot of times the athletes say that they experience like a death.
Yeah.
I didn't really experience that because I was gone. You understand? Yeah. And I immersed myself into a completely different lifestyle, completely different way of life, different way of thinking. I'm in the office. I'm just doing a regular job. I don't have any pressure. I don't have anything. Yeah. And nobody was looking at me like, oh, didn't you used to be? Yeah. There was none of that. You know what I mean? So I just went straight into a different line of work.
See, that's interesting though, because what hits home with me is like you don't have people asking you. Yeah. Like, because even to this day, I announced it in July of this year on my dad's anniversary of passing, but it was, I still go in the airport and people will be like, hey, man, is that you? Like, are you're not playing this week? Like, aren't you with the Dolphins or aren't you with Philly? Like, man, I ain't played football in 2 years, almost going on 3. Like, what you talking about? So it's like you didn't have to deal with that because you were so far removed in a country where it's relevant, but it's not. EPL is everything here.
Yep.
So football, it's like
soccer.
Yeah. So that's super, super interesting to have that transition. Is like you were fully removed from it.
Completely. It was good. So like a lot of times when people ask me like when they're about to retire, that's why I keep on. Remember, I kept on telling us like, no, just move over here. Yeah.
But
the reason why is because of that thought process. Because I was like, no, if you remove yourself from that, you won't really have to experience. You know what I mean? It's not about money. It's just about like
it's the mental side of it. Time after time, people keep asking you, it becomes an irritation versus you're fully removed and you're in a space where nobody cares about that.
Nobody. Just on your own.
Because I walk the streets now. I know you can't, but people are like, oh, Sky?
Yeah.
It's like, I did a little work for Sky. That's a very interesting piece and good advice for guys. Just fully remove yourself. Go take a year off and go live in another country.
Go somewhere else. Yeah. Get out of there, man.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to a little bit of a fun segment I like to call
D-line fingers, man. You got
D-line. Yeah, you know, hey. D-line hands.
D-line fingers, dog.
This is the worst. I'd be trying to flip my wife off, and she'd be like, "Who are you throwing a peace sign up to?" But I want to do this segment with you. It's called "Show Me the Receipts."
Okay.
And basically, it's a series of questions about what money was to you in certain situations. So first, do you remember your first NFL paycheck and how much it was?
Talking about the signing bonus or?
Signing bonus.
Yeah. The first amount I received was like 700 and something.
Okay.
thousand, I think. Yeah. Because it was like the signing bonus. The signing was like 1 point something.
Yeah.
So after taxes and all, it was like maybe 650, 700. Yeah.
So let's talk about that taxes. Yeah. And being in New York.
Crazy.
And you play in Jersey. Crazy. So you're getting double tax.
Double tax. Yeah.
What did that feel like?
You can't process it. Like, you understand what I mean? You're like, no, this is, I'm quite sure my signing bonus was this. What is this?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you have to pay this tax, this tax. I'm like, yo, like, for what?
Yeah.
And, it's half the money essentially gone. So you hear 1.1, 1.2, that's really 600, or 650. And you got to adjust. You got to adjust to that. You have to adjust people's expectations, but they don't care. Nobody, like if they see 1.2, it's 1.2. It's not 600 to them.
I mean, it's crazy, especially in a city like that where you've got not your highest federal taxes, no matter what. So that's a given. Then you got SALT, state, local, and city taxes.
Yep.
Like that to me is insane. And you guys are more so like not pushing 50%, pushing 55, close to 60%, depending on where you live in all those different pieces. So next one for you, when you got that first check, no matter what, like how did it make you feel?
Yeah.
And like was there a sense of relief or I made it, but I still got to put in more work?
Yeah, there was no sense of relief, man. There was, I almost felt like more pressure. You know what I mean? I felt more because the way we grew up, especially Africans in general, you're very, very responsible for everybody.
I was going to get there. I was going to get there.
You're responsible for everybody.
Yeah.
And I had 13 of us, so I had 8 younger than me.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? And you got to pay for college. You got to pay for all of that. And so I was like, man, this isn't going to go far. And they see it. You got to, first of all, you got to give everybody something right away. And then, I knew that I had a long way to go.
So I'm curious to this. When you took your first trip back home after being in the league to Nigeria.
To Nigeria, yep.
What was that like?
Yeah, that wasn't nice. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because it's an adjustment going back there and understanding that when everybody knows what's going on, you're expected to take care of everybody. And the thing is, when you land and you see the situation that people are in.
You see the real poverty. What real poverty looks like.
Yeah.
Like we think we have a poverty in America, in Europe. There's real poverty in Africa, let alone Nigeria and Cameroon. So
eye-opening.
Yes.
Right? And so you just like, man, I got to do something. I got to do something for these people. So your mind starts to go that direction. And then it's in different places. So you go to Lagos, you have family there. You go to Enugu, you have family there. Then you go to our village. And then, you know what I mean? So you're settling people. We call it settling. You have to settle people in all these different places, you know? So it wasn't cool.
Man, it's crazy though, because of that same experience. So I was in the league in 2010. It was my first year. And I remember doing a spot for CNN for the first time. And it was dedicated just for Cameroon. And I didn't go back for the first time to Cameroon until 2014. And my dad took me back. And I didn't really understand. He was like, they're going to see a lot of different things. And one of the exciting pieces, and I know this is true for you, but being royalty.
Yep.
But also with that royalty comes a lot of responsibility.
Yep.
And you talk about being in the main cities of Douala, and then we don't have a lot of family in Yaoundé, but we have a little bit there. But then also you go into Bamenda and all the different areas. And then you get into where my dad was born in Ntanka. Like you have to take care of all those people, but they're so happy and they're so proud of you at the same time. So like, did you have a sense of not necessarily relief, but also like you're carrying this country on your back at the same time too?
100%. Definitely. You feel that, you know? And because you said the royalty, that like my father was like the king of our village, right? And that's also something that's hard for people to
understand.
Yeah, you can't really explain.
I remember going in the museum in Ntanka and seeing our last name.
Crazy, right?
At the top.
Yeah.
The kingdom started here.
Yep.
With this family member and this, like, that's crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah. And so you feel that pride and you feel that sense of belonging. Like I know I was born in the UK and I lived most of my life in America, but I feel Nigerian. Like I'm only when I get to Nigeria do I feel like, okay, I'm home. You know what I mean? I don't feel like that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so you do have that sense of pride and belonging and responsibility to all those people there.
Well, last one was show me the receipts. What is one thing in your life right now and previously that you would never put a limit on spending on?
Ooh. Never put a limit on spending on. I would say experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what because I've bought everything.
Yeah.
The houses, the car. I had like 2 Bentleys at the same time, the same exact model. Like who?
He was doing it big.
That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And so like you're living like that, but there's no real happiness there, right? And you can't. That's another thing you can't explain to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so what I found is like experiences. Like when you travel somewhere, you go somewhere with people. Like I remember I took my dad before he passed. My dad loved luxury. You know what I mean? That was his thing. So I took him on Emirates.
Okay. Yeah.
I flew in first class Emirates.
Yeah, that's different.
You know what I mean? And then we went to Dubai and I put him in the Burj Al Arab, which was the world's first 7-star hotel. You know what I mean? And he's living and he's looking around and just the look on his face and to know that I was able to provide this for him and experiences like that for like my kids and things. I spent my last dime on that for sure.
Nah, experiences are everything, man. And the more you see it, especially your kids lighting up, like even the most simple things, but just being in different areas with them in parts of the world is super special. You've been fortunate enough and worked hard for these 2 Super Bowl champions, all pro bowler. You've become the epitome of an NFL ambassador, not only in the UK, but also NFL Africa. And obviously the co-founder of the Uprise organization. What is the biggest win to date for you in life?
Oh, that's easy. I think the work that we're doing in Africa with these players, I think to me is the most amazing thing. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of times when you want to give back and you want to do things and you don't really necessarily know how to do it. And so before I would go back and we would build wells, and we would do lights, we would do all those things, but it just never seemed to be enough, right?
Yeah.
And so I came out here to the UK, and the idea for getting more people from international backgrounds into the NFL, that's where that idea came from. Like when I came here, I was like, man, okay, well, how are we going to grow the game? Well, we should get players from different countries into the league. So it started with the UK and Germany. And I was like, well, you look at the makeup of the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, say, okay, cool. And then I thought about my journey.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's journeys like mine. I was like, well, outside of the quarterback, you know what I mean? If you have a size, you can run, you're athletic. There's positions where, we train you. Yeah, you can start at a later age.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to transition this thing here. I'm going to go there because number one, that's where the athletes are. Number two, I believe they need the opportunity more.
No question.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And so we pivoted to that and getting these guys into the, whether it's high school, whether the NFL Academy here, into college. We got kids at Tennessee, Oklahoma, Boston College, Vanderbilt, like big universities. And these guys are coming from Africa, right? Like from Nigeria.
Yeah. We
got kids in the, not kids, but they're men that we've taken straight from Nigeria. We put them in the NFL.
Yeah.
We had a guy, CJ Okoye, he's a defensive tackle. This guy's, playing for the Ravens, playing meaningful snaps. His coach called me yesterday. Yeah. And he's telling me they're going to pay this guy. And you're looking, you're like, I remember where I saw this guy first 2 years ago. And now he's making a lot of money, and he's about to be a multimillionaire. And there's like several that we've done that for. So,
in itself, that is fulfilling.
It's crazy.
And I'm curious, it's like, how are you building a self-sustainable infrastructure? Because I know the mindset and how you look at things. Yes, I've had to put X amount of dollars. Yep. I'd love to know what that would be if you're good to share that. But to make it sustainable in building not only the coaching, but the training and the facilities, so when they do get to the US and they do get to these big colleges, they do get to the NFL, it's not eye-opening and they've already had that experience to just roll in and be smooth.
Of course, that's the next. That's the evolution. That's the next step that we have to get to. And so what you realize is there are a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah.
A lot of like-minded Africans who, okay, well, we have to do something. But the problem that I've seen with a lot of us is we're very fractured. You know what I mean? Yeah. The ability to coalesce around an idea and say, okay, we're going to do this together for whatever reason. It's very difficult thing to do.
It's a culture thing for whatever reason.
It sucks, right? Yeah. But then there's some people who are trying to like make that effort. And so we're building these situations where it's like multi-sport campuses where you bring, soccer, basketball, American football, track together onto one campus. And then we find the best athletes from around and then we bring them in there. It's a multidiscipline.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you want to create an international version of the elite of the elite, like IMG, for 100%. Example. Where would be the best location for that to be?
Well, that's another story because if you're looking for the best athletes, they're going to come from the Western African region. That's going to be Cameroon, Nigeria, the DRC, those areas. But those aren't necessarily the safest places to
agreed
to have, like, you know what I mean?
I remember with this last December, I was in Cameroon. I laid my dad to rest. I traveled with military, state police, the governors of the Northwest Regions team, and I also had private security.
It's like that. It's like that. So, you're like, okay, well, I want to put it there, but nah. So you're looking at maybe Ghana, I think that'd be a good place, or Rwanda. Ghana is, we call Ghana soft landing. Yeah. Like, that's not like, people want to,
Ziggy.
You know what I mean? Like, go to Ghana. That's not, you want the real, you go to Cameroon, you go to Nigeria, then you know what's really going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So you want to build it in Rwanda, which is an incredible country, safe place, or Ghana, one of those two places.
Okay.
But then the logistics of getting, the best athletes to these places is, going to prove challenging. But I think we're going to be fine.
Okay.
I think we're going to be fine. I'm
going to raise my hand to support.
Yeah, you have to, man.
Yeah, I know I don't have a choice.
Yeah,
you're going to put me in a headlock if I don't join.
Bro, seriously, man. And I want this experience for you.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to see where somebody comes from.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
See that look of just hunger and in their eyes.
Drive, yeah.
Be like, you know what, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
Right? And not help you in a regular way. I'm going to put you in the exact same position that I was in.
Yeah.
You understand?
And help from a standpoint of, I'm going to teach you something that's you can hold on to, make your own, and then run off with it.
Run off, exactly.
But my expectation for you is only for you to turn around after you've made it, come back.
Do the same thing for other people.
Exactly.
Period.
And that's where I think a lot of the times people get so caught up in successes of where they've been in life, especially when they do make it, they forget, man, this person helped me, this person helped me.
Oh my God.
All these 50 people helped me, aka the reason why you raise a kid in a village.
Yeah. And they forget fast too.
Super fast.
You know what I mean? I gotta tell you a story about one of the kids. One of the guys we got from Nigeria. So he wasn't even supposed to make it, but I saw something in him.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my neck on the line for this guy.
Okay.
So he didn't make it, but I said, like, yeah, you got to help him. So I took him anyway. He goes to the Raiders. He's on the Raiders practice squad.
Yeah.
After like a year, he's hanging with Max Crosby. You know what I mean? He's chilling. He's doing all this type of stuff. one day he hits me up. He's like, you know, the NFL stands for not for long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at him. I'm like, what did you say? He's like, the NFL stands for not for long.
Yeah.
So I need to broaden my horizons and I need to, find representation and all this type of stuff. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, bro, you have the basis of what you're doing here, the thought process of what you're doing here. You're so far away from where you're thinking right now, bro. Just focus, man. Wouldn't do it, man. And now he's out. He's out. You know what I mean?
Bro, you were on practice squad. You made it, but you didn't really make it. That's wild.
From night, he's not like he was raised in America. From there, you know what I mean. And it took him a year to switch into that mentality. I'm like, oh my God. So that is a problem. That is an issue. But I think we just have to do a better job of keeping them as grounded as possible. And what you said is the most important things. Like, you got to go back. Go back, go see, go remember. You understand? So you know really what you're doing it for, the opportunities that were given to you, and what you need to do with these opportunities. But they'll forget it quickly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I can't, in a year.
Took a year.
Wow. So what's one thing that you think the international market needs from an investment standpoint by the NFL to continue to grow that NFL Africa and the international game and just in general?
Yeah, just a different mindset and a different mentality. You got to take like a long-term view. When you're dealing.
And you're talking about long-term, not 5 years, not 10 years, like 50 years.
20 years.
Okay.
20, I would say 20.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the demographics, right, and you understand capitalism requires youth.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say? It does.
Yeah.
And in every other place, what you see is population decline.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean, not having everything is going this way.
Yeah.
And there is going this way, right? In terms of like the youth population, most of the people there are under 19. So in terms of consumption, consumer base, workforce, everything that you need, you're going to have to go there to do what needs to be done eventually.
Yeah.
And then also just look at the arc of history. You know, everything is cyclical. Everything goes up, down, up, down, up, down. So where you are now, you're not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And so if you're forward thinking, you're like, okay, let me start sowing seeds. Let me start making investments in a place where I know the boom has to eventually come.
Yeah.
And so you have to start looking at it like that. You can't think of it like, oh, I need to generate money now. Like you're not going to generate money.
And they're so
now.
used to that too, though.
Used to it.
And it is interesting that you say that though, in the globalization and how it needs to build that infrastructure. So it brings a question up for me from a standpoint of like, you look at baseball, there's farm leagues and there's all these different developmental leagues that allow guys to not only understand to learn their crafts, but then before they get to the majors, they have like a stepping stone. Yes, you could say that's college. But there's nothing outside of college that is a stepping stone to the NFL. So what does that look like in your eyes to build a farm system, for lack of better words? We had NFL UK for such a long time. Should that come back?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I think it should come back, but it should come back in a different way. I think it should come back because to me, the real opportunity globally is not only because you have the NFL, right? And that's really the only, right? But then if you look at the amount of places in the NFL and you see like the college system, there's no shortage of talent, of people coming in, you know, to the NFL from just their college system, and they don't pay for that.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why are we going to invest in the development of players outside when we got this college system right here and we can, you know, get money from that?
Yeah.
So you have that. And then on the other hand, with globalization and the internet and all these, so people here can watch the NFL. Yeah. They can see the highest level of the sport.
Yes, but
okay,
1 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, well,
some of the best games are on
at that time,
and 90% of the population is asleep.
Correct. So there's that.
Yeah.
So, but I think that the advantage is a system like you're talking about, but college age in Europe and internationally.
I like that.
I think that that's where the opportunity is, because college NCAA has never really been threatened before, right?
At all, and they're god awful,
right? And so if you build a system similar to that,
oh wow, I see where we gotta talk.
Exactly,
we gotta talk. So oh my god,
that's where the opportunity is right there. And so you're not competing with the NFL. You have this massive young people. They're playing.
And who wouldn't want to come do college? Spain, Ireland, like playing ball. UK, playing ball and also getting your education. And you just live in dorms.
Thank you. So that's where I think the real opportunity is. But people are thinking about it backwards. They're like, no, NFL, no, you don't want to.
The reason why I asked you about NFL Europe coming back is because, like, I'm looking at what the NBA is doing right now.
Yes.
And that to me is genius.
Yes, I agree.
Like, you've got the NBA. Yep. There's nothing better than the NBA. But if you also come over to European basketball, which I had a best friend that played European basketball for 12 years.
Yep.
I loved coming, like, even super small countries or cities in Greece, like all over Europe.
Yep.
They're now talking about basically taking over NBA EuroLeague and starting their own leagues and controlling them and their teams that are connected to NBA teams.
100%. They've already built that infrastructure.
Yeah.
For like years. So they have a developed market. It's just going to be basically NBA branded, but with these. Yeah. So I think we could do that.
We should buy a UK team.
I think they have one already. You just want to buy into the UK team.
No, we should own the UK team. You're royalty here.
You talking about like basketball or?
Basketball. And we can do the NFL. We can do the schooling too. So we got some stuff to talk about. I got some ideas. And I know you got a big bank account, so you can help me with it.
Decent. I ain't get that. You been getting paid from the beginning, from the start. And Ndamukong was like, he was like among the first people.
I was strategic like you. I held out until 2010 when they said, the last year of the open draft. Oh yeah, I'm gonna come out in this year.
Oh my God, you got that. Number 2 pick overall, so you came out with.
I was a little blessed.
60 from the top, and then just I can't even. I don't even wonder how much money you got.
I'm still behind you. It's all good.
It's not even. There's no chance. There's no chance of that. Not even a possible way.
You've been. No, I'm not even gonna do that. We'll move on. We'll move on. But no, I love that. So college age system.
Yeah.
Where that's the farm.
Europe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that way, like what you have is you can have the same way they draft players out of, college in America.
Yeah.
You can draft players out of the system that we have here. You understand what I'm trying to say? And then it just continues. And so it's the same thing as college in the States, but out here. Yeah. And to me, there's no competition for that.
My only secondary question is this. With NIL, does that change anything with how crazy that is in the States to having to also have that over here?
The cost now has gone exponentially higher to do something like that. Before, it wasn't, but now the cost is higher.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about developing athletes here as opposed to just bringing in a bunch of Americans, then I think we won't have to pay the same.
And there's all the same exact similar brands and spends that you have to do out here versus in the States as well. So, and they're all more localized anyway. So I like it, man.
Yeah.
I know you got some architecture on a whiteboard that I want to see. So just let me get underneath the hood. Man, Osi, this has been an amazing conversation, but I'm not going to let you go until I get this last in my number one question I always ask every single guest. What is the biggest price you've had to pay for a breakthrough? Can be monetarily, emotionally, anything across the board.
Biggest price I've had to pay for a breakthrough in terms of like, okay, I don't think I understand.
It's like you had to go through this situation or you had to spend this amount of money, or you had to take this loss, or whatever it may be. And when you went through that, it propelled you in this enormous matter, and and it opened your eyes up to something as well, potentially.
I think there's a couple. I think the first one was that when I held out that situation, and then coming back right then at that time and ending up winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? Like what I learned from that, invaluable. Because in my head, I'm like, I could have very easily just not played and things would have been one way. But, deciding that I was going to do something for somebody else, for other people. You understand? Because I wasn't doing that. I wasn't thinking about myself at that time. I was like, nah, they're going to need me.
That's selflessness.
You know what I mean? And so and then you end up winning the biggest prize. So I'm like, okay, the way I think now is so different than the way I thought before that. Because now it's like I'm so much more, selfless. It's like, no, you need this. Let me help you. And in some ways, that can actually be selfish.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And so just that thought process and learning that this is probably the better way to be, the understanding that collaborating with people, even though on the front end you might not make as much immediately, but in the long run, you're going to be able to make for so much longer.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say? With collaboration, I think that's the biggest thing.
And that's a key point, because I think it's when somebody has always said to me, one of my closest mentors, he's like, would you rather own 100% of $2 million or 50% of $100 million?
Yeah.
Which is greater.
Yeah, of course.
So those are the different things that I see in the mindset of growth and understanding for people to grow. Man, this has been an amazing conversation, Osi.
Yeah, it's cool.
I can't really thank you enough for joining No Free Lunch and amazing stories, but we definitely got some stuff to talk about offline.
Whenever you're ready, bro. Like you always say that and then you're going to disappear. That's what you do.
No. Don't even start that, because you a hard man to get a hold of.
That's true.
Yes, see, exactly. I'm glad you're being truthful over here on that one. But no, boss, I appreciate you, man. Always good to see you.
Of course.
T. Rowe Price proudly sponsors No Free Lunch. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the podcast participants and do not necessarily reflect those of T. Rowe Price. Their sponsorship supports the platform and does not imply endorsement of specific content or perspectives. Man, what a great conversation with my guy, Osi. I will say my biggest takeaway are two things. One, the globalization of American football and what the NFL can do, but more importantly, what we can do as players and people a part of the organization that have been there and done that, and how we need to learn to give back, especially to less fortunate kids that don't necessarily have the resources and opportunity, AKA NFL Africa. And I think ultimately something key that Osi said there as well is capitalism is something that I think if you really want to get there and have the biggest impact, you have to have a long-term vision of what that looks like and not be afraid to invest and not see a return right away, because not everything that's good has an immediate return. Make sure you subscribe to No Free Lunch on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.